Hello, everybody. Welcome to session 2 of the Ready4 GRE session. Or class, rather. I'm very happy to see you guys. We have, hello, Andrea. Hello, Callie. Hello, Crystal, Jin, Silvani, and Taryn. I think we have 2 others coming, but we will push ahead and hope that they join us very soon. Before we begin, I'm going to start every class from here on out with the same thing, which is 2 to 5 minutes of answering absolutely any question that you have from anything standardized test or grad school related. So if you have any question at all, why am I wearing a silver tie? Why is my hair so frizzy today? What's grad school like? Did Jake Gyllenhaal go to your grad school? Did you actually hold the door for Claire Danes? Anything or anything standardized test related. Just go ahead and ask. So let me see what we got. Callie says hello. Hello, Callie. Nice to see you. Any other questions about how practice is going, how the Ready4 app is responding, anything at all? So we'll just take a couple minutes where you can ask me anything you want. Okay, so Bonnie says, would you recommend taking the online or paper test? I think you should take the online test. I don't actually know if they let you do the paper GRE. I think they do that for like people who can't, like the Amish or something, people who can't use computers, or like people who have a religious objection to like the demon inside the machine or something. So the online test responds to your ability. So it's called a computer adaptive test, or a CAT, and so that's a better gauge of your abilities. And the GMAT works like that, and the modern GRE works online. And I know that means you can't write on it, but that's how it goes. So that's my advice on that. Okay. Do you need documentation to get accommodations? Yes, in general, when you apply for an apartment, you need to have a driver's. Oh, you mean for the test? Yeah. So you need a driver's license. Just make sure you bring a driver's license to your test, or when you apply for a lease, also that too. Okay. Is the calculator an advanced calculator? No. The calculator is basically an online abacus, and they do that to you on purpose because the whole point of the math on the verbal section is that it's supposed to be basically logical reasoning with numbers. So if you are, if you use the calculator for everything, in life, you're going to do very poorly on the GMAT quantitative reasoning, because they know that if they just ask you a regular math question that anybody can solve using a calculator, most people could solve it. And remember, the point of the test is not whether or not you can answer the question. The point of the test is whether or not you can answer it in 2 minutes or less, and under stress. So that's the point. So use the calculator when you absolutely have to, but mostly it's a test of quantitative reasoning. So it's not calculator ain't going to save you. Not a big help. Yeah. Can you go over problem 22 on page 395, third edition? Okay, so for problems in the regular GRE book, here is the rule. I don't have that with me. I have that at home, but if you want me to answer any question on the homework from Ready4 or from the official book, take a picture of it, or yeah, best thing is just to take a picture of it, attach it to an email, and send me an email. So my email is, and I don't give this out lightly, so don't abuse it, but I will answer any homework questions that you have. My email is Maltzer, which is my last name, Maltzer @gmail.com. I do have a Ready4 email, but it all goes to the same thing. So Maltzer @gmail.com will work. I have a professional email that goes somewhere else. I'm not going to give you that, but Maltzer @gmail.com. Take a picture, send me a note. I try to get back to students within a day, unless it's on the weekend, and then you'll hear from me on Monday. So that is what I would do for that problem. When would you recommend taking the GRE after studying 4 to 8 weeks or longer? I usually say 6 weeks of study. So 6 weeks of hardcore studying, and that should be enough. But in general, there's one overriding piece of advice, which is you should take it 2 weeks from the time when you're within striking distance, meaning like 60 to 80 points of your goal. If you're within 60 to 80 points, then you can make that up in 2 weeks, 2 weeks of hardcore study. If you're not within 60 to 80 points, keep studying until you're at that level. And you should be taking practice tests regularly. Okay. That's it for intro questions. If you have any other questions and they come to you during the course of the lesson, just type them in the question box and I will answer them as they come. Okay? All right. Let's get going here. Okay, we're going to start with verbal today and then do math. Can you all see my verbal screen? I'm going to ask Julie if she can see the verbal screen. Just comment yes, if you can. Hopefully you can. Thumbs up. Okay, let's go. Okay, verbal lesson 2, text completion and sentence equivalence. We're going to do those kinds of questions right now. Here we go. Okay, we are going to cover text completion basics, sentence equivalence basics, sentence level strategies, continuation connectors, and contrast connectors. Here we go. Okay, you're going to learn to map and analyze text completion questions. You're going to understand how sentence equivalence works. And you're going to apply sentence level strategies, identify keywords, and contrast connectors. You are not going to listen to NPR, which may or may not spontaneously erupt from your phone just for no reason at all. Connector questions are actually one of the easier kinds of questions on the GRE. But there is one big but. They are hard in only one way. Most people who grew up in America or who speak fluent English natively want to answer these questions based on what feels right or what sounds right. If you insist on picking answers based on what sounds right to you, you're going to miss a lot of questions, even if you are excellent at grammar. So what I want to hammer home in today's lesson is you have to have a strategy that is not based on what your gut says. Because your gut is good for many things. Your gut is good for digestion. It's good for telling you whether or not someone is a romantic match for you. It's good for, you know, telling you whether or not someone is like creeping on you, maybe. It is bad. Your gut is a bad standardized test taker. Don't let your gut take your standardized test. Your brain should take your standardized test. So don't choose answers based on what feels right, what sounds right, what looks right, or what seems right. If you hear yourself using those words, look, seem, sounds, or feels, you're going to get it wrong. So back up and choose an answer based on some sort of logical reasoning. Okay, here we go. Sentence equivalence on the left. The opinion columnist is known for his blank prose. He never expresses an idea with a word more than is necessary. So the second half of that sentence, after the colon, gives you a huge clue about what is in that blank. And whenever I have a blank, I am pre-phrasing, or I am predicting what is going to go in that blank. So the opinion columnist is known for his blank prose. He never expresses an idea with a word more than is necessary. So I want something that says concise, or something that's pithy. So I look at the answer choices and look at that. Pithy is one of the answer choices. So you can go through them one by one and say, is brusque pithy? No. Is blunt pithy? Maybe. Is terse pithy? Maybe. Terse is better than blunt. Is percipient pithy? No. Is pithy pithy? Yes. Is analytical pithy? Yeah. No. No, it's not. So terse and pithy probably the answers you want to pick. Okay. Text completion on the right. After the 1953 discovery of the double helix structure of DNA, entirely new fields of research in areas as disparate as medicine, criminal justice, and botany soon developed, many of which were blank, particularly in matters relating to heredity. Interesting. Soon developed, many of which were entirely new fields of research soon developed, many of which were blank. So like breakthrough, or like really great, or super awesome. That's my prediction. Now I see A, perspicacious. I don't think so. Controversial? No, that's not super awesome. Essential? No. Revolutionary? Yeah, that's super awesome. That's great. Supercilious? No, that's not super awesome. Supercilious means super silly, or superfluous. So it's D, revolutionary. Now, what happens if you don't know these words? What happens if you don't know what perspicacious means? Well, you will, because you will have studied them on flashcards, and that's something I really recommend. But if you don't, use a couple things. Use Latin and Greek roots, if you can study those. So perspi means like perceptive, or if you studied it incorrectly, like perspiration, like sweating. It's not sweating, it's like perceptive. But it's like, oh, it's like you're seeing something interesting. It's like wise. So soon developed, many of which were wise. That's not exactly right. Revolutionary, that's closer to what I prephrased. That means super awesome. Okay, so the key to sentence equivalence and text completion is coming up with your own idea before you hit the answer choices. If you rely on the answer choices without coming up with your own idea first, you are dead meat. You're in some trouble. So I do this only as a very last resort. Please, please, please avoid it whenever you can, because the answer choices are designed to make you miss. They're engineered to be close to the right answer, but not quite the right answer. So why would you rely on them? It's like asking a used car salesman, what do you think I should pay? What's like a fair price? You're screwed. Don't do it. Come up with your own idea of what you know you should pay. Come up with your own idea of which word you think you should pick. Then go match the answer choices to that word. Okay? That's going to be a better strategy. It's going to make you move faster, and it's going to make you think on your own. Okay? Any questions on that? Okay. Any questions? All right. Move along. You can ask me any questions at any time. I'll stop every once in a while just to make sure you're with me. Okay. Sentence equivalence basics. It's crucial to understand the instructions. Find two choices that lead to a complete, coherent sentence while producing sentences that mean the same thing. Okay, so you're producing sentences that mean the same thing. So in that example we just did, you want a sentence before, or an independent clause before the colon that says, this dude doesn't waste a word, and that's pithy. And you have to find two choices that lead to a complete coherent sentence. So pithy and terse. The underlined portion is the important part because all the choices will give you a complete and coherent sentence. Okay. So all the choices will give you a sentence. You want sentences that mean the same thing. That's the key, mean the same thing. So let's see what more examples of that look like. Okay, sentence equivalence, essentially a vocab in context test. Extremely nitpicky. The correct answers are very dependent on the context. If an answer does not have another choice that matches it, it's wrong. That's a huge hint. There's always a third choice. A choice that could fit the answer, could fit the blank, but doesn't have a matching word. So in the example we did beforehand, that is analytical. The opinion columnist is known for his analytical prose. He never expresses an idea with a word more than is necessary. Analytical is kind of close, but there's no other word that means analytical. Is there? Percipient? You know, again, I don't know about that. Actually, analytical and percipient are suspiciously close. Brusque and blunt are the same, but that's not what the sentence is going for. So the sentence was going for concise. Never expresses an idea with a word more than is necessary. So let's look at this question that we have here, example 3. With enough stimulation, neurotransmitters can be released at a faster rate than reuptake can recycle them, with the ultimate blank that a signal will no longer be easily transmitted. Okay. So what do you think it is? There are two answers. So I'm going to just go dark for about 40 seconds, and then as soon as you know it, I want you to type your two answer choices in the text box. Okay? Go. Okay, looks like we got answers from just about everybody. Several of you picked AC, one of you picked BD, one of you picked AD. Let's look at this. So with enough stimulation, neurotransmitters can be released at a faster rate than reuptake and recycle them, with the ultimate blank that a signal will no longer be easily with the ultimate result that a signal will no longer be easily transmitted. So yeah, a result, that looks pretty good. The ultimate possibility is not result, and the ultimate possibility that, so you don't have an ultimate possibility. Possibility is like one of many things that could happen. So you don't have the ultimate maybe. That's not a thing. It's like with the final maybe. That is a those two words conflict. The ultimate signals a decisive end. Possibility signals a inconclusive end. So possibility is long. The ultimate consequence, that is the same as result. Good. The ultimate intent, no. It's not the ultimate in. The neurotransmitters do not have their own intent. This is the result of a chemical process. So the ultimate hope. B and E are the same, are synonyms. So if you thought hope looked good with the ultimate hope that a signal will no longer be easily transmitted, then you would pick B and E, but you wouldn't pick B and D. With the ultimate design, no. So it's A and C. That's the pair you want, and that's the correct answer. So good job, those of you who got A and C. Okay, your questions. Claps to those of you who got it correct. And I sympathize with the person who frowny faced at me. I frowny face back at you, but I smile at you, smiley face at you, because I know you will get the next one. So let's do the next one. So test takers often want to find the synonyms among the answers and choose them. The questions are designed to prevent this strategy from working. Do not go into the grocery store hungry. Do not ask the used car salesman what price you should pay. Do not, ask the judge what sentence he thinks you deserve. You need to come up with your own case and then take your case to the answer choices. So you come up with your own idea first, and then go match the answer choices to that idea. So the sentences created, not the answers themselves, should be as similar in meaning as possible. Okay, so go ahead and read this one, and I will go dark for about a minute. As soon as you have the answer, type it in the box and go dark. Okay, I'm going to come back. I don't think any of you got this one right. So I wonder if you guys are seeing the same thing that I'm seeing. So are you guys seeing the cats one? The cats? Meow? Right? Yes? Yeah. Okay. The biological family Felidae includes all living cats, including domestic cats. Great. There is evidence that members of all subfamilies of Felidae are blank cardboard boxes, are something about cardboard boxes, or something by cardboard boxes. Okay, so let's see what we have. Wait, before I see that, I'm going to pre-phrase it. Are confused by cardboard boxes, or are, yeah, I would say confused by cardboard boxes. So, A, passionate about cardboard boxes. Cats are not passionate about cardboard boxes. People, and if people are passionate about cardboard boxes, that's a problem. But if cats cannot be passionate about them. I'm sorry. They may look passionate, but they're obsessed with them, maybe obsessed with cardboard boxes, but they're not passionate about. That's not cool. That's not good. Excited by cardboard boxes, and that's the same thing as passionate about. That's really, I don't think cats are excited by a cardboard box. No, that's illogical. You can be excited about, but you cannot be excited by an inanimate object. Like if you're excited by a rock. Yes, and it's not grammatically okay. You have to be excited about an inanimate object or excited by an animate thing. Okay. Inquisitive about cardboard boxes. All right, so I can tell from the number of you that picked C that that you think cats are humans, and you think cats can actually ask questions about cardboard boxes. Inquisitive is a very human adjective, and that's not appropriate to say that an animal is inquisitive about. You'd say is curious or confused, but inquisitive implies that there is an actual question, and cats can never really articulate the question. So I don't think C is correct. D, aggressive towards cardboard boxes. I don't see that won't have any evidence that cats are attacking cardboard boxes directly. I would have chosen E and F. They're fascinated by the cardboard box because that properly talks about an inanimate object, and confused by a cardboard box, even though those things are, as it says on the header of the slide, not synonyms. Fascinated and confused are not the same thing. I think it's E and F. This is not a typical sentence equivalence question, and it's not necessarily a great example because there's so little evidence in the part before the semicolon of what comes after the semicolon. Usually they will give you more information about what comes after the semicolon in the first half of the sentence. So we're going to chalk this up to E and F. We're going to move along, and the other examples should have more evidence. Taryn says, doesn't inquisitive mean curious? Yes, it does, but inquisitive has this overlay of being like inquisitive. The quiz, it implies that you are asking questions. So you can have like a curious kitten. You can't have an inquisitive kitten because the kitten never is so curious that it asks a question of you. So that's an improper use of the word inquisitive, unless you think your cat is a human, in which case there's bigger problems. It's another issue. Isn't confused a human-like emotion? Have you ever seen a confused monkey? So confused is a less human thing. This is not only one of the hardest kinds of questions, but because there's no evidence, very little evidence in the first half of the question, but I have resorted to parsing the the very, very particular definitions, the nitpicky definitions of these words in order to find E and F. Most sentence equivalence answer choices will give you other clues. So the stuff below the highest level will give you other clues. Fascinated seems like a human thing. Yeah, it's not. We're going to move off this example. The more I linger on it, the less I like it. But the answer is E and F. Okay, text completion, choose the best answer. GRE text completion sentences are written to be grammatically difficult, not to be clear or helpful. So you cannot rely on your intuition. I'm going to underline that. You cannot rely on your intuition. You cannot choose an answer because it sounds right, it seems right, feels right, or looks right. You cannot choose that. Often a sentence resulting from the correct choice won't sound good, won't sound correct. The wrong answer choices will introduce errors that make the sentence mean something else, not just sound bad. Okay. According to some analysts, the gains in the stock market reflect growing confidence that the economy will avoid the recession that many had feared earlier in the year, and instead come in for a soft landing. Reflect growing confidence, the economy will avoid the recession that many had feared earlier. The economy will avoid the recession and instead come in for a soft landing, comma, followed by a gradual increase in business activity. So the economy will avoid and come in for a soft landing, followed by a blah, blah, blah. So that sounds awful, but it is correct because will avoid and instead come in are verbs that apply to the economy, and that's fine. Bad, but not incorrect, as it says. Okay, prediction, especially important on harder text completion and sentence equivalence questions. You can save a lot of time on pre-blank text completion questions. There are 27 possible combinations of answer choices to consider. Steps for prediction. Try to predict what you go in each blank before you look at the answer choices. That is crucial. Do not look at the answer choices to help you. They are there to confuse you or fascinate you, as it were. There will always be clues in the sentence as to what type of word should go in each blank. True. Base your prediction on the meaning and structure of the sentence itself, then look through the choices and see what comes closest to your prediction. You will get better at prediction the more you practice. Comes with practice. You must practice. All right. Well, steps for prediction in text completion and sentence equivalence. When comparing your prediction to the choices, if one answer is very close and the others aren't, you have your answer. If more than one of the choices seems to match your prediction, use process of elimination. Once you've eliminated all but two choices, one should stand out. Okay. Read your answer back into the sentence just to make sure you haven't made a silly mistake. In most cases, predictions will make text completion faster, simpler, and more error-proof. Yes, read your answer back in context after you have chosen it. Okay, let's do this together. Upon his arrival in Leiden, it quickly became clear that he was perhaps not as blank as he had claimed to be, as his personal library consisted largely of auto-racing-themed romance novels. Huh. What do you think that word is? Go ahead and type it in the question blank. Okay. I'm going to wait until I have answers from all of you to read out your answers. Okay, interesting. Okay. Ooh, I like that one. Oh, very good. Very good. Okay, so 3 of you had excellent answer choices, so I'm going to read those. Taryn said not as well versed as he had claimed to be, as his personal library consisted largely of auto racing themed romance novels. All right, auto racing themed romance novels seem both very specific and rather frivolous, to be frank. Auto racing themed romance novel, that was crazy. So what's the opposite of rather specific and frivolous? Maybe broadly knowledgeable, well-versed, well-read. So Silvani says knowledgeable, not as knowledgeable as he had claimed to be. That's very good. What else? Andrea says well-read. That's very good. Some of you who I will not name said not as correct as he had claimed. That's incorrect, because the opposite of something very specific and kind of random is not correct. The opposite of very specific and kind of random is broad and, you know, sort of a Renaissance person knowledgeable about the world. Okay? Okay. Okay. Good. Andrea says, she almost said famous, but then she saw the clue about the library. Yes, library indicates what this person's personal library, personal, like, sort of knowledge is. So his personal knowledge consists of auto racing themed romance novels. Very specific, kind of random, silly. Okay, great. All right, so which one do you think it is? Go ahead and type in your guess. Okay, only 2 guys. Come on, we've done this. Okay, 3 more of you. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Silvani. Callie has entered both. Yeah, Callie has entered 2 answer choices already. Keep guessing. Andrea says she minimized me by accident. I assume that means minimized the window as opposed to minimized me personally, which I would be very offended by. Please don't minimize me. I try very hard to be taken seriously during these classes. So those of you who, yeah, some of you said you need to build your vocab. Let's go through these words. Okay, indolent means, all right, do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing? Indolent, good thing or bad thing? First person to write in, I will quote you. Oh, Andrew has maximized me now. Thank you, Andrew. Bad, 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 bad. Yes, indolent is a bad thing. Indolent means lazy. So again, we are looking for like well-read, knowledgeable, wise. So that is not, so we're looking for a good word, and indolent is a bad word. So indolent means lazy, indolent sounds bad, it is bad. So we do not want a bad word, so A is wrong. Ambitious, as he had claimed to be. Okay, so is the opposite of auto racing themed romance novels ambitious? Does that mean wise? So if you ever met someone who went to Harvard Business School, you will know that ambitious does not mean wise. They are different things. Very different. Another person who's ambitious, Anthony Scaramucci. Very ambitious. Is he wise? Think about that, okay? Not the same thing, okay? So B is not good. You don't want an ambitious person, you want a wise person. Sometimes they're paired, but not always. Cerebral. What do you think about cerebral? Those of you who got cerebral, who picked that, Jen and Silvani and Andrea, why do you think it is cerebral? Why do you think it is cerebral? Silvani wrote, brain, brain, yes, brain. It is brain, brainy, yes. Not as brainy as, so brain, another synonym for brain or brainy is wise or smart. Not as smart as you claim to be, not as knowledgeable as you claim to be. Personal library is very weird and esoteric and specific. So cerebral, cerebrum, brainy, smart, good. That's definitely the best answer choice so far. Aristocratic. That is aristocratic the same as wise? No, aristocratic means royal or high class or sort of hoity-toity. Not the same as wise. How about athletic? Definitely not the same as wise. Definitely not the same. Okay, those of you who got cerebral, very, very good. Okay, yes, Taryn says, made me think of cerebral cortex. That's exactly right. Your cerebrum is your cerebral cortex, your main brain, if you will. Okay, very good. That was example 5. Okay, let's do one more. I'm going to go dark for about 1 minute and 10 seconds. Go ahead and try to do this one on your own. Go. Okay, coming back here. Let's see, who has not answered? Let me say thank you to Taryn. Very well done. Callie, you got one half of it, so give me the other half. So remember, for sentence equivalence prediction, you have to do 2. So Callie, give me one more. Crystal, you also got half of it. Silvani, you got half of it. Andrea, you got half of it. Jen, you got half of it. Andrea has completed the double. You got both halves. Callie, try again. Crystal, you did it. We got it. Silvani, excellent job. Jen, nailed it. Callie, you got it. Great job. Okay. The film director was known to be blank, therefore, even when he greeted them with a smile, like creepy smile, the actors were circumspect, meaning hesitant, meaning a little cautious, afraid of setting him off. Uh-oh, this guy is a hot potato. This guy is volatile. This guy is a explosive dude. All right, so let's go see what we got. A, volatile. Yes! Garrulous. Garrulous means really talkative, voluble, very he likes to chat, chatty Cathy. That's not it. Tremulous. That means sort of cowering in a corner, like he's like a tremor is shooting through him. He's very afraid. He's not afraid. It's the opposite. Vapid. That means dumb or empty. This guy is not the typical Los Angelino, if you know what I mean. Apologies to anyone dialing in from California. Explosive. That's it. That's the synonym for volatile. Insipid, same thing as vapid. Okay, so that's it. I think most of you got it. A and E. A great network and a great pair of answer choices. So that is it for example 6. Any questions on that? Okay, let's move along. Okay, keywords and connectors are the two kinds of clues that reveal the likely meaning of the blanks in both text completion and sentence equivalence. Keyword is a word or phrase in a sentence that has a meaning you know or can guess, and connector is a word, phrase, or punctuation that connects the word you know to the blank. So let's see what we got. The connector is in the light blue, moreover, and the keyword is in the dark blue, long-lasting psychological trauma, victims who have suffered, and even longer-lasting psychological effects. So it has been shown that crime victims who have had personal property vandalized may suffer long-lasting psychological trauma. Moreover, victims who have suffered the blank of spiritual symbols, such as places of worship, experience even longer lasting psychological effects. So it's going to be something similar to long-lasting psychological trauma, because you're suffering long-lasting psychological trauma when you get personal property vandalized. I would say suffered the... Oh, it's the same thing. It's like if vandalizing hurts you, just imagine if you suffer the theft of spiritual symbols, the desecration of spiritual symbols. There's something bad happening to spiritual symbols, right? Something bad going on. So sometimes it helps to say, is the blank bad? Is it good? Is it something? Is it like an action? Is it similar to something else in the sentence? Whatever you do, make sure you predict something to go in the blank. Okay. Damage. Yes, Solani, damage. Okay. Waving goodbye to Callie. Callie is attending to family needs. Callie, we'll see you next time. All right. How connectors work. A continuation connector, like moreover, means that the blank is going to be very similar to something in the first half of the sentence. So in the first half of the sentence, we have vandalized, and then in the second half with the blank, you have like desecration or theft or something like that. So what do you think? Pick two. So pick two and type it in the box. What do you think? Okay, guys. Yep. Good job, Taryn. So, Lonnie, close. You're halfway there. Andrea, you nailed it. Awesome job. Crystal, smoked it. Silvani, one more time. You're still halfway there. And then I'd like to hear from Jin. You could write in as well. Great. Jin, you're halfway there. Silvani, third time's the charm. Silvani, you got it. Jin wants to know which half. All right. So we wanted something that said like the desecration or the defacement or something like that of spiritual symbols. So desecration, pretty good similarity to desecration, I will tell you that. So almost all of you got A as one of the answers, which is correct. A, desecration. B, denigration. Denigration, just like the word that is kind of embedded in there, means insulting. You know, kind of nastily insulting something. But I don't think nastily insulting is the same as spray painting it. So denigration, not the word we're looking for. Dissemination, that means to spread around. That's definitely not the same as desecration. Divestment, you do that with stocks. You do not divest a statue. That's not a thing. You don't do that. Defiling. When you defile something, that means, I mean, the most common thing is like you defile something by peeing or pooping on it, and that is definitely desecrating it. That is real bad when you defile. You pee on it, you poop on it, or you like do something worse to it. Basically, you expletive something, you've defiled it, and that is really bad to a spiritual symbol. Big no-no, and that is could definitely cause longer-lasting psychological effects. So it's A and E. Defame, defamation, again, that's the same. It's similar to denigration. It just means you're insulting it, or like you like causing like shame. You know, defaming. You're just you say bad things about it. Defame, defamation. Okay. Taryn, you can let me know if I can say anything out loud. I will wait for your permission, and then I'll say it later. Taryn said naughtiness. Taryn says another way you can defile something is to draw a penis on it. Drawing a penis on it, another way to defile a sacred spiritual symbol. Very, very good example there. Taryn, you're well on your way to becoming a Ready4 instructor. I'm really proud, just super proud right now. Okay, all right, continuation connectors. Continuation connectors are the most basic connectors between ideas. These words and phrases indicate more of the same. Two ideas that are similar or in agreement. Most common by far is the word and. Connected ideas don't have to mean exactly the same thing, but they always have same word charge or connotation. So again, think about whether a word is good, whether the word is bad, or whether the word is like kind of neutral. Okay. What are some predictions for this blank? The wolverine has razor-sharp claws and teeth. To protect itself, its skunk-like scent glands are an additional blank to predators. What do you think that is? What is that blank? Yeah, Silvani got it. Who else? Just write in what you think that blank is. Taryn, good. Yeah, Andrew, not bad. Who else? How about Jen? Jen, what do you think? Yeah, Crystal, good. Jen, what do you think? Yeah, so an additional weapon to predators? That's close. That's close. How about an additional deterrent? So an additional thing that gets predators to go away. An additional defense mechanism. Good, Crystal. Good job. So an additional deterrent. So let's see what we got. Oh, it doesn't give us answer choices. I'll give you but for those of you who said deterrent, that's exactly right. That's almost certainly one of the answer choices. Great job. Okay, contrast connectors. They indicate two different or contradictory ideas, so they're going to have disparate meanings, different word charges or connotations. So, but, however, nonetheless, etc. Let's see what one of those looks like. All right, what do you think prediction for that blank is going to be? Yep, Andrew says it's sad, or depressed and sad, says Silvani. Sad, says Crystal. Yeah, I will assume that Jin is going to say sad. So cheerful on sunny days, but blank when it's raining. Down or depressed or sad. Good. Very, very good. All right. Now, go ahead and try this one. This is going to be one of the last things we do on this verbal lesson. So go ahead and do this one. I'm going to go away for just a minute. Okay. So Lonnie and Crystal have already weighed in. How about Jin? Okay, good. Jin's halfway there. Silvani and Silvani, you are halfway to the correct answer. Crystal, you are also halfway. Jin, you are halfway. Andrea, halfway. Andrea is all the way. You're all the way, Andrea. All the way to the correct answer, 100%. Jin, still halfway. Andrea is on fire tonight. Yes, Andrea says she is on fire tonight. That's correct. She is 100% on fire. En fuego, as we say in España. Silvani, you still have one. Not quite getting it. Jinhu, you are all the way. You made it. You are en fuego as well. Silvani is still demi en fuego. And so is Crystal. No. Silvani, still demi en fuego. Okay. For those of you who are on fire AF, if you, as the kids say, that is the correct pair. Also, an excellent, an excellent an excellent cap to a declarative statement. I am hungry AF. I am correct AF. That is the way you answer a sentence equivalence question of this sort. After his experiences on the mountain, some of which were truly blank, we made a full recovery. Uh-oh, this is like a really bad experience, like something major. Able to climb again, but no longer quite as fearless as he once was. So it was like bad, and now he's afraid, or he's like less fearless. So I'm just going to say traumatic, because that's bad and sort of long-lasting. So A, harrowing, yeah, that means traumatic. That's pretty good. B, exhilarating, no, that's not bad. Thrilling, no, that's not right because it's bad. You made a full recovery. You had to recover from this thing. Dangerous, interesting. That is the third wheel. That's the answer choice that is tempting, but there's no companion word to dangerous. And transformative is at a yoga retreat, not something you do on a mountain. Well, you could do yoga on a mountain, but it doesn't sound like that's what this guy did. So it's not dangerous because dangerous doesn't give that extra layer of inspiring fear after the event is over. So you can be in like a dangerous situation, but then you get out of it and you're like, cool, that was great. Like when you ride go-karts or something. But traumatic and harrowing, those leave some scars. So it was harrowing AF, if you know what I mean. All right, enough of the dad jokes. Okay, that's it for, I'll do this one with you, and then that'll be it for the verbal session. The majority of consumers find the blank of the global economy perplexing, and all too often forget that the economy is so convoluted because of their multitudinous decisions. The majority of consumers find the blank, the essence, the churn, the essence of the global economy perplexing. So the main thing of and because they forget that the economy is complex, or convoluted. So the simple essence, the something that is simple. So forget that the economy is so convoluted because of their decisions. Huh. So the connecting word here is and, which means that that the majority of consumers find the blank of the global economy perplexing. The ins and outs, you still want to say like the gist of the global economy. The first word is intricacies. I like intricacies. And I should. The word intricacies works in the blank because it is both a word that means the essence or the details, and also implies that the economy is complex. The economy is complex. That's what A says. A says the stitching, the detail work, the intricacies of the global economy. So I think that is one of the answers, but let's see how it goes. The intrigues. No, intrigues implies mystery. It implies some sort of drama. No. The consequences, that is very far away from my pre-phrase. It's not just. The distinctions of the global economy, that's not right. So distinctions, that's the differences of the global economy. It's not right. The fascinations, no. Again, that's similar to intrigues. That's not what is being talked about. We're talking about the details, the complexities of the global economy. That's right. So again, this one is difficult. How difficult? It's difficult AF. It's difficult AF. All right, we're going to skip number 10. Please do that on your own. Takeaways from this lesson: text completion questions. Use connectors to create a formula. Sentence equivalence requires careful elimination. Prediction saves time. Make sure you are predicting what goes in the blank. Okay. There's your homework on the verbal: text completion, continuation, and contrast. Sentence equivalence, continuation, and contrast. And don't forget to do your homework in the GRE book. That is what will be most similar to the actual test, is what's in the GRE book. Okay? Any questions on verbal before we move to math? Any questions at all? Okay, I'm going to go through what some of you have said. So flashcards help a lot with vocab. It's good to know words, specific words. promise you, you will see words on GRE that you've never seen before. It will happen, I guarantee it. So, in addition to the words, make sure you are studying your prefixes and suffixes from Latin and Greek so that if you don't know a word, you can at least kind of puzzle it out. If you see perspit, that means some sort of perception or something dealing with insight. If you see, I mean, you know some of them. Pre is before, post is after. You know, Urs means bear. You know, some Ursine means bear-like. So, you know, you'll see these prefixes, suffixes that are commonly used in English words, taken from Greek and Latin. It's good to know a bunch of those. So make sure you study those along with your vocab. If you don't know what a word means, it's okay to set it aside, but and wait until you eliminate or choose the others. But don't automatically eliminate it, and don't automatically choose it. If you don't know what a word means, set it aside. Okay, AF, yes. Andrew says your word for the previous one was minutia. Yes, that's an okay thing. Minutia is an okay word to pick for the blank in example 9. You would still get intricacies and complexities. That's good. Okay, let's move to math. Okay, here we go. Woo, math time. Okay, arithmetic 2. All right, we are still on the basics of GRE math. That is what we are doing. Okay. Positive and negative numbers, even and odd numbers, absolute values, inequalities, and fractions. Guys, I know it's late. I know. All right, all of you, for the rest of the session, any comment you make in the question box, you can just append AF, and it will be totally funny. It's very funny. Like, I will laugh in the way that you were laughing when I was overusing it. So, like, let's keep it. In fact, use it anytime we do sentence completion. Anytime. Just use it all the time. Use it in Facebook posts. Use it in text. Use it in your emails. Just sign it AF, even if your name isn't AF. Andrea, if you can change your last name to something that starts with F, that'd be great. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going AF. All right, arithmetic. Here we go. All right, learning objectives. You're going to learn all about arithmetic. Let's go. All right, properties. Positive numbers. Anything greater than 0. Negative numbers. Anything less than 0. Is 0 positive or negative? No, it is a non-negative number. So sometimes they will trick you with that. 0 is a non-negative number, but it is not positive and it is not negative. Okay? Okay. When you add a positive and a negative, that's the same as subtracting that second number from the first number. So let me see if I can find my pen here. There we are. All right, so for instance, if you were to add 3 and negative 2, that's the same thing as subtracting 3 and 2. 1, 1. If you subtract a negative number, 3 minus negative 2, that's the same thing as adding 3 and 2. 5 and 5. Okay? Multiplication division. When you multiply 2 positive numbers, you get a positive number. When you multiply 2 negative numbers, you get a positive number. If you multiply a positive and a negative, you get a negative. If you multiply a negative and a positive, same thing. Dividing 2 positives, you get a positive number. You divide 2 negatives, you get a positive number. Divide a positive by a negative, you get a negative. Divide a negative by a positive, you get a negative number. Okay. Even exponents. If you square something, or if you raise something to the 4th, you're going to get a positive number. So if you take 2 squared, that's 4. If you do negative 2 squared, that's also 4. If you do 1/2 to the 4th, that's 1/16. If you do negative 1/2 to the 4th, that is also 1/16. Anything to an even power is positive. Odd exponents. 2 cubed is 8. Negative 2 cubed is negative 8. So 1/2 to the 5th, 1/32. Negative 1/2 to the 5th is negative 1/32. X to an odd power is the same sign as x, so it could be positive or it could be negative. Helpful to know. How many integers that are less than 5 satisfy the inequality below? Okay, I'm going to do this with you because this is tough. This is something that's super hard right off the bat. How many integers that are less than 5 satisfy the inequality below? I have a question. What's the first integer that is less than 5? Write it in the little question blank. The first integer that is less than 5. Crystal got it. Silvani got it. Okay. It is, in fact, 4. And then there's 3. And then there's 2. And then there's 1. There's 0. Negative 1. Negative 2. Negative 3. Negative 4. Negative 5. Negative 6. Okay, so let's test it. 4 plus 1 times 4 plus 3 times 4 plus 5. Positive times a positive times a positive, that's definitely going to be greater than 0. Actually, anytime you have a positive times a positive times a positive, it's going to be greater than 0. So yes, 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 and yes. What about 0? If you plug in 0, you get 1 times 3 times 5. Well, that's good too. Positive times positive times positive. Okay, good. Now, what if you plug in negative 1? Negative 1 plus 1. Negative 1 plus 3, negative 1 plus 5. You get 0 times 2 times 4. Is that greater than or equal to 0? Heck yeah, it is, because you got 0 in there. So that works too. Oh, guess what? Anytime you get a 0, this is going to work. This equation is going to be the x will satisfy this little equation here, this inequality. Anytime you get a 0, so if you get a 0 here by making x equal to negative 1, that will work. We did that. If you get a 0 here by making x equal to negative 3, that's going to work. And if you get a 0 here by making x equal to negative 5, that's going to work too. Awesome. Now we only have to test negative 2 and negative 4. So negative 2 plus 1 times negative 2 plus 3 times negative 2 plus 5. We got this negative 1 times 1 times 3. Negative 1 times 1 times 3. Is that greater than or equal to 0? So right in the text box is negative 1 times 1 times 3 greater than or equal to 0? Yes or no? Less. It's less than 0, so it's not going to work. Not going to work. So negative 2 does not work. Bummer. What about negative 4? Negative 4 plus 1 times negative 4 plus 3 times negative 4, right over here, negative 4 plus 5. So we got 1 times negative 3 times negative 1. Is that greater than or equal to 0? 1 times negative 3 times negative 1. Greater than or equal to 0, yes or no? Yes, it is greater than 0. That's exactly right. So negative 4 works. Anything negative 6 or less, you're going to have a negative number times a negative number times a negative number. 3 negatives, negative times negative times negative, you're going to have a negative number. And anything negative 6 or less, you're going to get negative times negative times negative. So let's count up what we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that's the answer. Okay, that's how you do that one. If I did it on my own, I would have done it much faster, but I wanted to make sure to slow down and show you exactly how it works. There's no other quick way to do it other than seeing the patterns. Okay? Any questions on that? Can I erase? I'm going to erase. How would I have done it? Same process, but faster. Yes, Savani, I would have done the exact same thing. I just would have done it a little more quickly on my own. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to let you guys do this on your own. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. You have to determine if A is bigger, if B is bigger, if they're the same, or if you cannot determine. So I'll give you a minute and a half. So ready, go. Okay, looks like you guys are getting this correct. Jin and Silvani and Crystal and Andrea, we have 100% correct. So you have all nailed it. You cannot determine which is bigger because together they multiply to be -1. So maybe one of them could be 1, one of them could be -1, but you don't know which is which. So because you don't know which is which, the answer is D. So you all got that right, 100%. Let's move on to the next one. Even and odd numbers. An even number is an integer divisible by 2, so every even number is twice another integer. 0 is even. 0 is even. So even numbers can be positive or negative. So -4, that's an even number. 0, yes, that's an even number. An odd number is an integer that is not evenly divisible by 2. So every other integer is an odd integer. Non-integers are not even, not odd. Good to know. Okay, an odd plus an odd is an even. So you don't have to memorize this page as long as you can do this. Well, 3 plus 3 is 6. That's an even number. Good. 2 plus 3 is 5, and that's an odd number. 2 plus 2 is 4, and that's an even number. 3 times 3 is 9. Notice how I do not use 1. Weird things happen when you use 1. Don't use 1. Use 2 and 3. 2 times 3 is 6, which is an even number. 2 times 2 is 4, which is an even number. So as long as you can do that, you don't need to memorize all of this stuff. You can make it up on the test. Okay? Okay. Go ahead and try this one on your own. It's a hard one, but I will give you a minute and a half starting now. Go. Okay, I have learned two things while you were doing this question. Number one, Jin is a genius. Jin, you are exactly correct. I'm very proud of you. Number two, Silvani is hilarious. Silvani wrote BCDE, which is very funny. I find that humorous. All right, how about the rest of you? Crystal, nope. Andrea wrote AF, which is always correct. It's just for today only. That is correct. That's funny. Okay, so Jin got it. If non-negative, the rest of you not so much. If non-negative integers x and y, so what the heck is a non-negative integer? That means that it is. If you see non-negative, you better test 0. If you see non-negative, you better test 0. That's what I'm going to say. X and y, so it could be, so x and y, it could be 0 and 2, it could be 2 and 3. Let's just test those. Are not both even. Oh, so they can't both be even. So that's a 0 and 3, 2 and 3, or 3 and 3. Okay? Which of the following must be even? Okay, so x, y, is that even? Well, yes, if it's this, because this is x, y at 0. 2 times 3 is 6. Yes, that works. 3 times 3, no. That is not even. That is 9. 3 times 3 is not even, so that's wrong. Negative 2 times x times y. Negative 2 times 0 times 3, that's even. Yes. Negative 2 times 3, yes, that's negative 12. That works. And negative 2 times 9, yes, that is even. And that's it. What about x minus y? 3 minus 3 is even, but 2 minus 3 is not even. So this doesn't work. What about y minus x? 3 minus 2, not even. What about xy plus 1? Well, 2 times 3 plus 1 is not even. So you're done. Okay? So that's why it is B. Or, as Andrea says, AF. AF also works. Okay, so any questions on why it is B and how you do this quickly? Any questions on that? Callie cannot. Okay, Callie got it. Okay. Any questions on why it's B? Both are not even. That's right. So both are not even. So you can't have 2 and 2. You can't have 0 and 2. So you can have 1 is even, or you can have both are odd. So those are your options. You can have 1 even, 1 odd, or you can have both odd. So I think Silvani read it as neither is even. But if it wanted to say neither is even, it would have said neither is even, not both. Not both are even. Not both are even means you have 1 even, 1 odd, or 2 odd. Yeah, so Silvani, you got it? If they want to say both are odd, they're going to say x and y are both odd, or neither x and y is even. If that's what they mean, that's what they'll say. If it says not both, that means not both. Okay? Okay, good. Let's move on now. Oh, remember, this is practice. I'm on your side. None of this counts. This is all like, we are a team. We're doing this together, and you can, like, now is the time to, go for it. Venture an answer. See what you can do, and if you get it, if you don't get it right, ask me questions about it. Now is the time to practice. That's what I'm here for, and that's what you're here for. So let's keep it up. Okay, absolute values. Absolute value is the distance from 0. So what's the absolute value of 8? Well, it's 8 away from 0. What's the absolute value of negative 8? Also 8. It's the magnitude of the distance from 0. So at the bottom, you can see the magnitude of the distance from negative 3 to 0 is 3. It's 3 away from 0. Just like you can't go It's like, how far am I from my destination? -3 miles. That's not a thing. So you have to be a positive number away from your destination. So it's the magnitude of the distance from the number to 0. So if it's a positive number, the absolute value of a positive number is just that number. If it's a negative number, the absolute value just wipes away the sign. So the absolute value of 7 is 7. The absolute value of -7 is 7. Okay. In addition to numbers, you can take the absolute value of a variable. So, for example, I'll show you here. Let's see. If I say the absolute value of x equals 4, then x equals 4 or -4. Okay, so when you have the absolute value of 4, you do two things. You take the regular case, where you just wipe out the brackets, and then you take the negative case, -x equals 4. And so x can equal 4, or it can equal -4. Okay. Okay, so let's take this example. So this is you do the regular case and the negative case. Okay, so what can x equal? So go ahead and do that, and then type in your box what x can equal. There are two things that x could equal. Silvani got it? Who else can get it? Jen has got it. Who else? Who else can get it? Andrea, close. Close, but look at what I have written on the screen, Andrea. Solve those equations. Crystal, same thing. Look what I have written on the screen. Yeah. Okay, we'll wait till at least one of you gets the correct answer. One more correct answer. Excellent job, Silvani and Jen. Okay, one more correct answer. Come on, team. Crystal? Crystal, Andrea, Callie, anybody? Bueller? Marco? Nobody? Okay. All right, guys. Okay, this is basic arithmetic and algebra. If this is taking you a while, I want you to really practice in your Ready4 app, and I want you to really put in the work, because it's going to be very difficult once we get to advanced material for you to do that if you haven't mastered the arithmetic. You really need to get this stuff solid, okay? All right. Okay, guys. Okay, 2x minus 5. How do you solve that equation? Well, 2x minus 5, the first thing you do is you have to add and subtract. So it's kind of reverse PEMDAS a little bit. You have to do addition and subtraction first. So 2x equals 14. Then you divide both sides by 2, because that's the only thing left to do, and you get x equals 7. That's certainly one of the answers. And then some of you said x is 7. Great. It's an absolute value question, so the other answer is -7. That is totally wrong. So the other equation is this thing down here. So how do you solve that? Well, you distribute the negative into the equation, so you get negative 2x plus 5 equals 9, and then you do the same thing as before, where you do the addition subtraction first. So minus 5, and you get negative 2x equals 4. Divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2, and you get x equals negative 2. And that's your other answer. Okay? Those are your two answers. If you have trouble with that, got to practice your arithmetic. Okay? Okay. Okay, let's move along. No judgment, judgment-free zone. You're here to learn. I am here to help. So, all right, let's move along. Okay. All right, I'm going to let you do this one. There's a pretty hard one. I'll be very happy for any of you who get this one correct. So I'll give you a hint. Just figure out what the left-hand side means. The absolute value of x minus 3 halves is less than 4.5. So when is that going to happen? When will the absolute value of x minus 3 halves be less than 4 halves? So go ahead and plug in some numbers and see when it'll happen. Go. So I'll give you a minute and a half. Go. Okay. First of all, I want to thank you for guessing. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Sohani. Thank you, Jen. When you have an inequality like this and the complicated stuff is on the left, and you have a less than sign, which is what's going on here, that means you are going to be shading in between 2 points. So let me show you what this means. So if you had the absolute value of x is less than 4, then you're going to have this thing, you have 0, you have negative 4, and 4, and it's going to be anything in between those points. You're going to be shading inside, in between the two solutions, the 2 points. If you have the absolute value of x is greater than 4, you have the same thing, 4 and negative 4, but you are going to draw this out to infinity. Out to infinity to the left and out to infinity to the right. But the first step in both of those examples is finding the 2 solutions. So let's do that for this thing. So here we go. We have x minus 3 halves is less than, x minus 3 halves is less than 9 halves. So first thing is pretend there's an equal sign. Equals 9 halves. That's the first thing. Okay? And then do your 2 scenarios. halves. So x minus 3 halves equals 9 halves, and negative x minus 3 halves equals 9 halves. So over here we have x equals plus 3 halves plus 3 halves. So you get 12 halves, which is 6. And over here, negative x plus 3 halves equals 9 halves, minus 3 halves, minus 3 halves. Negative x equals 6 halves, which is 3. So negative x equals 3. So x equals negative 3. What does that mean? Well, we have a number line here with 0. You got negative 3, and you got positive 6. So the correct answer will be between 3 and 6, because it's a less than sign. You got a less than sign here, and so you're coloring in between negative 3 and 6. Is negative 9 between 3 and 6? Negative 3 and 6? Nope. Is 4.5 between negative 3 and 6? Yep. What about negative 4.5? That's over here. Nope. What about 9? Nope. What about 18? Nope. C. So for those of you who got C, very, very impressed. Well done, Silvani. Well done, Jin. For those of you who did not get C, first thing, make it an equal sign, get the solutions. Second thing, figure out if you're coloring in between or out to infinity. Good way to figure it out is to throw in 0, right? Because 0 is going to be usually in between the two solutions. If 0 works, so in this case, is the absolute value of negative 3 halves less than 9 halves? Yeah, 3 halves is less than 9 halves, for sure. So that works. So if 0 works, then color through 0. If 0 does not work, then you got to go the other direction. You got to go from the solutions out to infinity. Okay? Does that make sense? Any questions on that at all? Any questions? I'm going to erase drawings. No questions? Okie dokie. Really? Okay. Okay, inequalities. Similar to equations, but work slightly differently. I will tell you one major thing on the GRE. If you see an inequality question, they are usually testing if you know that when you multiply or divide by a negative number, the sign flips. I'm going to repeat that one more time. When you multiply or divide by a negative number, the sign flips in an inequality. Okay, that happens. Okay. Look what's in blue. When you multiply or divide by a negative number, the sign flips. So for instance, negative 3x is greater than 2. Divide by negative 3, and you get x is less than negative 2/3. X is less than negative 2/3. Okay? Okay. If you don't know whether the variable is positive or negative, you don't know whether or not to flip the inequality sign. And so the answer choice is probably B in that case. Okay, so go ahead and try to do this one. I will give you 2 minutes. Go. Okay, I'm coming back. We have stumped Jin on this one, so I know this is rather hard. So, Ready4 marked this as a 500 or like mid-level question. I think it's a bit harder, but let me do this quickly for you, since we have stumped everybody. Okay, so here we go. So 1 over y plus 1 is less than 4. Cool. 1 over y plus 1 is less than 4. So here's my question. So 1 over y plus 1 is less than 4, what does that mean? Well, what's going to make that less than 4? Well, if this is negative, then it's definitely less than 4. What's the only thing that would make it positive? I think the only thing that would make it positive, or sorry, what would make it greater than 4? What would make 1 over y plus 1 greater than 4? Y is going to have to be 1 over like 1/5. So you're going to need y to be like a negative fraction, like a certain kind of negative fraction. So y has to be like between 1/4 and 0. Sorry, y has to be between, y plus 1 has to be between 1/4 and 0. So, so y has to be between -1 and -3/4. How did I get that? I subtracted 1 from everywhere. So let me clean that up and show you exactly what I did. So I had what makes this, what in the world would make this not true? 1 over y plus 1 is not less than -4. Well, if 1 over y plus 1, how do I make that be 5? Well, 5y plus 5 equals 1. 5y equals -4. 5. So y equals -4/5. Aha! I get it. So y has to be some sort of negative fraction. A negative fraction. Because if this turns negative, this whole thing turns negative, then I don't care what it is, a negative number is going to be less than 4. But if I get 1 over 1/5, that's going to be 5. Cool. So basically, y plus 1 has to be less than 1/4. It has to be greater than 0. So -1, -1, -1. So y is greater than -1, less than -3/4. There you go. And now we have 4 times y plus 1 versus -2. So can we make 4y plus 1 greater than -2 and less than -2? So 4y plus 1 versus -2. Yikes. Well, what if y is like what if it's -3/4? 4 times -3/4 plus 1. So that's -2. -2. So I just made them equal. But what if it's -4/5 times 4? -16/5 plus 5/5. That is -11/5 versus 2. And so that is less than. So I just got one thing, I plugged in a value and got them to be equal. I plugged in another thing and got it to be less than. What if I plugged in, oh crap, 4y plus 1? It doesn't tell us anything about it. Yeah, no, I think I'm right. I think that's it. So I got one thing is equal, one thing is less than. I think I'm ready to say it's D. I think it's D. So questions on that? There's one excellent question that you could ask. Yeah, Silvani asked it. Less than 3/4. Yeah, Silvani, you got it. So I said it had to be less than 3/4, and I used 3/4. So you're right. So that is the operative question. So let's use. So I got it to be less than using negative 4/5. I think if you use another number between negative 3/4 and negative 1, can you get a different answer? If you can't, then the answer should be B. So we've taken a little bit of time on this. The answer key says D, and you will get the answer key. For homework, I want you to look at the answer key and figure out whether it is D or B, and then we will start class on Tuesday by you explaining to me B or D and how to do this in 2 minutes or less. I would have chosen D because I think there's another way to do this. There's probably another value of y that will make 4y plus 1 not less than negative 2. But look at the answer key, and especially you, Silvani, since you nailed it. The exact question that exposes the weakness of my reasoning. I want you to help explain this next time. Okay? Silvani just wrote no. I'm not sure what the no is for, but if you are being truculent, I get it. It was not the most satisfying explanation, but it was a very hard one. To compensate, I'm going to do the next one with you. If a and b are positive integers, and if 1 over a plus 1 over b is less than 2, which of the following must also be true? So a and b are positive integers. So a and b, you could have 1, you could have 2, you could have 2, 3, something like that. So 1 over a plus 1 over b. Hey, here's a question. What's the only way that 1 over a plus 1 over b is not less than 2? It's if both a and b are 1. Because then you have 1 over 1 plus 1 over 1. That's the only thing that will make it not work. So you can't have 1 and 1, but you can have anything else. So which of the following must be true? A plus b is greater than 4. Nope, doesn't have to be true. A times b has to be greater than 1. I think that's right. A over b plus b over a is less than 1? Let's try it. So 1/2 plus 2 over 1. That is not less than 1. What about a minus b squared is greater than 0? Nope. 2. Oh, yeah. A minus b. Well, no. What if they're the same? What if they're 2 and 2? What if they're the same? If they're the same, then it doesn't have to be greater than 0. A plus b squared is less than 0. No, nothing squared is less than 0. That's impossible. So it's b. Okay? Does that make sense? I hope that compensates. Does that make sense? Yes? No? Are you still with me? Okay, great. Great, great, great. Okay. Inequalities with powers. This is going to be very rare on the GRE, but I will help you with it here. Examples of inequalities with an odd-powered variable. X cubed is greater than 27, or W to the fifth is less than negative 32. Treat it as an equal sign to find the root. So, for instance, x cubed equals 27, which means x is 3, and now it's greater than. So x is greater than 3. And then W to the fifth equals negative 32. W equals negative 2, and then just put the inequality back in there. Okay? So for instance, negative 3 to the fifth, is that going to be less than negative 32? Yes. Okay? So just solve it as if there's an equal sign, and then put the inequality same direction back in there at the end. Okay. Enough. All right. For even-powered inequalities, so z squared is greater than 4. So remember, you have two roots when you have an even-powered inequality. It could be that z is 2, or it could be that z is negative 2. So, so check this out. So if z is 2, z is greater than 2. That's going to work. And then what about negative 2? Well, z has to be less than negative 2. Because when you multiply or divide by a negative, you got the sign flipping. So same thing, x is less than 3, or x is greater than negative 3. Okay? So flip the sign when you do the opposite case. Very rare on the GRE, but that's how you do it. Okay. I'm going to do this one with you, and this is going to be the last one of this session. We're going to pick up on slide 27 next time. So if a squared minus 10 is less than 1590, how many integer values can a have? Well, what's the first thing I do? Type in the box what you think the first thing I should do is. What do you think the first thing I should do is? Okay, Krista says set to an equal sign, solve, good. A squared, what's the next thing I do? What's the next thing? Yes, Silvani, add 10 to both sides. Great job, Silvani. All right, add 10 plus 10 plus 10 to both sides, and now I have a squared equals 1600. Now what do I do? Now what? Now what? What do I do? Yes, Silvani, square root both sides. Andrea says 9 squared, which I don't know what that means. But I'm going to go with Silvani. I will assume that Andrea is doing math AF right now. And Silvani says A equals the square root of 1600 is 40. 40. Okay, so I have A is 40. So 40 squared minus 10 equals 1590. That's right. Also, negative 40 squared minus 10 equals 1590. So my answers are 40 and negative 40. Now the question is, will 0 work? So if I had 0 squared minus 10, is minus 10 less than 1590? Yes or no? Is 0 squared minus 10 less than 1590? Yes or no? Yes, it is. So mine says yes. So here's the question. Can you have 40 squared minus 10? Is that less than 1590? Will the number 40 work? Will the number 40 work? It will not, because 1600 minus 10 is not less than 1590. It is 1590. So 40, I'm going to put an open circle here, and the same thing, open circle around negative 40. And so how many integer values are between negative 40 and 40? Well, there are 39 on this side, there are 39 on this side, and then 0. So 39 is 39 plus 0, which is an extra 1. So 39 plus 39 is 78, plus 1 is 79. That is the answer. That's it. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Who thinks that makes sense? Who thinks that makes sense AF? Yes? Okay. If that was a little confusing at the end, go ahead and review this when you get the explanation PDF. We will pick up on slide 27 of Arithmetic Lesson 2 on Tuesday. Remember, I want you to do this problem. I want you to do this problem, example number 5, and be able to explain it on Tuesday. Okay? That's it. Your homework is Arithmetic 2, sets 1 to 3, and that stuff on the official GRE guide in addition to the verbal. Okay? That's it for tonight. I will see you guys Tuesday night. Looking forward to it. Bye, guys.